All right, deep divers. Welcome back to the show. We've gotten so many requests to cover this one, and honestly, I'm kind of surprised it's taken us this long to finally get to it. Today, we're doing a deep dive into the ultimate fast food rivalry, Burger King versus McDonald's.
Oh, yeah. This is a big one.
Yeah, we've got this really fun YouTube video that we're going to be looking at. It's called Clash of the Calories. And then we've also got this really simple but kind of interesting text snippet that just says Burger King versus McDonald's.
Interesting.
So are we going to settle this debate once and for all? Probably not, but that's not really the point, is it?
Right.
We want to get a little bit deeper than that and look at, what makes these two fast food giants so successful and what their popularity says about us as consumers and as a culture.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. It's really fascinating how this rivalry goes way beyond just a preference for a certain type of fry or a specific burger. It almost taps into like a deeper sense of I don't know, brand loyalty or the comfort of familiarity, even maybe a sense of belonging.
I think you're right about that. So in this YouTube video, we've got Eric the Electric. He does these food challenge videos all the time. And this one is all about Burger King versus McDonald's. And he's going head to head with these different menu items in this calorie clash challenge. And he's got it broken down like a boxing match with 4 rounds, nuggets, burgers, fries, and dessert.
That's pretty clever, actually.
Yeah.
That competitive format, it really plays into our natural human desire for comparison and, ranking things. Plus, I think we all kind of secretly love a good showdown.
Yeah, totally. And this guy, Eric the Electric, he really knows how to play it up. He adds in a ton of commentary, and he's clearly having a blast with it. So the first round is the nugget round, where McDonald's chicken nuggets are going up against Burger King's chicken fries.
Oh, the chicken fries, those are a classic.
Yeah, and he's a big fan of both of them. He calls the chicken fries legendary, and he says that McDonald's brought the nugget game. So he's clearly enthusiastic about both contenders.
It's funny. The language he uses to describe these menu items, it's almost like they've achieved this cult-like status. It really makes you think about how effective these brands have been with their marketing. They've managed to elevate what's essentially pretty simple fast food into something that feels almost iconic.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on to the main event, the burger round, we've got the iconic Big Mac going up against the Whopper. And Eric Electric mentions how much he likes to accessorize his Big Macs with extra sauce.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That idea of accessorizing, even within the context of fast food, I think that really speaks to our desire for, personalization and control. Like, even when we're dealing with these standardized menu items, we still want to make them our own in some way.
Yeah, for sure. So he also digs into the Quarter Pounder and the bacon cheeseburger, too. And he just keeps emphasizing, the sheer amount of food that he's consuming during this challenge.
Oh. And that's another big part of fast food's appeal, right? Like abundance and perceived value for your money. It's that feeling that you're getting a lot for what you pay, even if it's not always the healthiest option.
All right, so next up is the fries round. And Eric Electric was kind of let down by McDonald's fries on this particular night. He complained that they weren't salty enough and that the containers weren't even full. He actually made a comment about the presentation of the fries, which I thought was kind of interesting.
That's a good point. And it raises a bigger question about consistency in the fast food industry, right? Like, is this a common issue with McDonald's fries, or was this just a one-off bad experience? It definitely plays into those criticisms you sometimes hear about portion sizes not matching expectations or, value for money.
Yeah, and honestly, the fries not full comment.
Yeah.
I mean, we've all been there, right? You open up the container and you're like, wait, that's it.
Yeah.
So anyway, the McDonald's fries were kind of a letdown that night, which means that Burger King wins the fries round by default.
Ouch.
So McDonald's is going to have to make a comeback in this next round.
Yeah.
They're going to have to bring their A game.
All right. So moving on to the final round dessert, Eric the Electric seems really excited about Burger King's Hershey's Pies and Oreo shake, although apparently the shake was pretty much melted when he got it.
Melted.
Yeah, I guess it happens, when you're doing these massive food challenges and you're trying to get through everything quickly, things start to melt.
Right, I guess so.
And he also mentions that Burger King usually has Dutch apple pies, but they weren't available during his visit.
Aw, that's a shame.
Yeah, I would like to see him try those too.
Yeah.
But anyway, on the McDonald's side, we've got the classic apple pies, an Oreo McFlurry, and a strawberry shake that had also unfortunately melted and turned into what he calls strawberry shake soup.
Strawberry shake soup?
Yeah.
Huh?
Doesn't sound very appealing, does it?
Not really. But, he's a trooper. He powers through it all. And it's interesting to me how these dessert items, especially the pies, seem to tap into this sense of nostalgia. You know, for a lot of people, they're associated with childhood memories and happy meals and those kind of simple pleasures.
Absolutely. I think brands are really savvy about leveraging that emotional connection, those warm, fuzzy feelings that we associate with certain foods. They can be incredibly powerful motivators when it comes to brand loyalty and purchasing decisions.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I know I have a soft spot for McDonald's apple pies. It just takes me right back to being a kid.
Exactly. And companies know that.
So Eric the Electric calls this dessert round a very close battle. But ultimately, he gives the win to Burger King for their Hershey's pies. And that means that the overall winner of this calorie clash is, drumroll please, Burger King.
Well, there you have it.
Now, even though this video frames this as a competition with a clear winner, Burger King coming out on top, I think it's more nuanced than that. I mean, notice how he asks his viewers to comment with their preference, Team Burger King or Team McDonald's. So he's really encouraging engagement and trying to build this sense of community around his content.
Yeah, that's a good point. He's not just presenting this as like a, objective scientific experiment.
Yeah.
He's really trying to involve his audience and get them to participate in the debate.
Yeah, exactly. And he also wraps things up by, reminding people to like and subscribe and check out his other food challenge videos. Yeah. Which is a smart move. He's turning this entertainment into a platform.
Absolutely. He's not just a guy eating burgers on camera.
Yeah.
He's building a brand and creating a connection with his viewers and using those, kind of classic YouTube strategies to keep people coming back for more.
Okay, so let's switch gears for a second and talk about our other source. This incredibly simple text snippet that just says Burger King versus McDonald's. It's almost too basic, right?
Yeah, it's so simple. It's almost jarring.
But I kind of think it speaks volumes. It's like this bare bones representation of this ongoing debate, this rivalry that's been going on for decades.
I agree. I think that stark simplicity actually gets to the heart of the matter. It's this constant internal debate that a lot of us have. Which side are you on, Burger King or McDonald's? It represents this deeply personal, almost tribal choice that we make when it comes to these iconic brands.
It makes you wonder why this rivalry resonates with us so much. Yeah. It's not like choosing a political party or a sports team, but there's still this sense of identity tied to it.
Right, and I think it speaks to how effectively these brands have woven themselves into the fabric of our culture. They've become more than just places to get a quick meal. They represent something familiar, something comforting, something almost symbolic,
So taking a step back from Eric the Electric's food challenge and this simple text prompt, what can we truly glean from this deep dive into the Burger King versus McDonald's showdown?
Well, on the surface, it's about these two fast food giants, competing for our dollars and our loyalty. But if you look deeper, I think it reflects something much bigger, like a cultural phenomenon that transcends the food itself. It's a conversation about convenience and affordability and how brands tap into our desires and our nostalgia.
I think that's a really insightful way to look at it. It's fascinating how even a seemingly simple topic like this can unlock so many insights into human behavior and the power of branding.
Absolutely. It makes you think, doesn't it? Why do these particular brands hold such a strong grip on our collective imagination? What is it about a burger and fries that evokes such strong feelings? It's clear we've only just scratched the surface here.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, we want to leave you with something to ponder. Is it possible that this whole rivalry thing, instead of dividing us, actually brings us together in a way? Does it tap into some kind of shared experience or this common love for convenience and affordability? And, let's be real, those cravings we all get for a little bit of indulgence.
I think you're onto something there. It might be less about picking a side and more about recognizing that both of these brands have really cemented themselves in our culture. They're part of our shared story, whether we realize it or not.
It's pretty wild when you think about it. Maybe it's really about finding some common ground, connecting over something as universal as a burger and fries. I mean, in a world that feels so divided, sometimes there's something kind of comforting about that it isn't there.
Definitely. And this deep dive has been a really interesting journey. We've uncovered so many different perspectives on consumer behavior and marketing and the power of nostalgia. It's amazing how these seemingly simple choices like Burger King or McDonald's can lead to such complex ideas.
I totally agree. And we've only scratched the surface here.
Yeah.
There's a whole world of food history and psychology out there just waiting to be explored.
Exactly.
So next time you're craving a Big Mac or a Whopper, take a second to think about all the cultural forces at play. It's more than just a burger, right?
Absolutely. And who knows, maybe this deep dive will inspire you to do your own taste test, see which side you prefer, or maybe you'll decide that there's room for both in your life.
Well said. Until next time. Happy eating, deep divers.